Hi everyone, some of you might already know me as Kitty. That's what I'll be going by here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel I'm going to be sharing advice on improving your life and becoming your best self. Today we're going to be talking about something that I'm really passionate about, and it's how to get sober, how to stay away from alcohol, and why it can be one of the best decisions that you make for yourself. I wanted to get on here today and share my experience and hope that it reaches at least one person that it's able to help. If you click this video, there's a part of you that's curious to stop drinking, or maybe you just realize that the partying culture and the glamorization of the overconsumption of alcohol just isn't it. Today, I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges that can come with making this decision, but more importantly, why it's completely worth your while. So a little bit about me. I haven't had a sip of alcohol for almost 8 years. I've been sober throughout the entire duration of my 20s. So if there's anybody who understands what it's like to be a young person wanting to break out of the cycle, it's definitely me. I really think that someone of any age could get a lot out of this video. I know how difficult it can be to give up alcohol, and I just want to help anybody who might be in a similar position that I once was. So I actually grew up in an alcoholic home. I couldn't wait to grow up and start drinking and partying. I thought it was going to be the highlight of my life and all of my best memories. I realized pretty early on that I was going to be a cycle breaker. I would sit and future forecast what my life was going to look like by analyzing the people who were around me at the time, who were often 5 to 10 years older than me. I couldn't imagine being their age and being in the same position as these people. The thought alone was enough to scare me into wanting to change the trajectory of my life. I really think humans crave connection, and drinking and partying provides the illusion of connection. And that's not to say that there's no connection at all. I'm definitely not saying that. What I am saying is that it's a surface level connection. Half of the things you talk about, if not everything, can hardly be reflected on when you're in oblivion, so how could that be connection? A lot of these friendships rooted in drinking and partying are people that you otherwise have nothing in common with. You don't have the same mindset, you don't care about the same things, you probably wouldn't ask these people for advice, you wouldn't want to swap your life for theirs. And I think there's a lot to unpack in that statement alone. I really want to point out the importance of surrounding yourself with people who encourage you and inspire you to be better, to be your best self. People who are doing better than you in life that you can learn from. You should be around people who support your expansion. Getting drunk adds nothing to your life. In fact, it takes away. A lot of people seem to not understand how these environments can really negatively impact your psyche, especially those who are very energetically sensitive like myself. You don't just pay with a hangover physically, you pay spiritually as well. I feel that there's this lack of understanding in our generation of reaction to action, and how our actions have consequences, and how we spend our time and invest our energy can actually really affect us in a negative way. And let's just talk about some of these environments for a second. Bars, clubs. I don't know about you, but these environments have some of the lowest frequency on earth. Being in these types of environments could affect my energy so severely it takes days to recover until I'm really feeling like myself again. Let me know if you can relate to feeling like that at all. You guys really just play with your time like it's not serious, and I think we need to be more aware and more conscious of the things that we're inviting into our energetic field, and how these things can affect us, not just physically, but psychologically and spiritually. It's 100% okay if the thought of being totally abstinent from alcohol scares you. I was completely terrified to quit drinking. I thought my social life was going to be over. I had no idea how I was going to go on celebrating Christmas, celebrating my birthday. And the beautiful thing about sobriety is that if you take it one day at a time, those days just kind of creep up on us. And by that time, we have sobriety that we want to protect. We're not thinking about giving it all up just because it's Christmas. I think you're not ever gonna feel fully ready, and that's okay. Something I told myself was that there's really no harm in trying something that's different from what I've always done to get results that I've never had. I also told myself that I could always just go out and go back to drinking if I wanted to. It's always gonna be there. That lifestyle's always gonna be there. But another really beautiful thing about sobriety is once your mind expands, it can't contract. So even if you do go put yourself in those same environments, it's not gonna hit the same. Your subconscious mind is literally always working in favor of the best outcome for your life. You already have this knowledge on why you shouldn't be wasting your time doing this. You're not really gonna be able to relax into the same environments because you know better now, and that's a great thing. I also want to point out that your life doesn't need to be completely in shambles to admit that you have a problem with alcohol or substance. How your life looks on the outside is completely irrelevant. It's how your life feels that matters. I personally knew I had a lot of work to do to get anywhere close to having a life that felt good to me. I gave up alcohol because I knew it was helping me to avoid the work that needed to be done on myself. It wasn't necessarily that I felt I was hopeless, I was gonna be an alcoholic all of my life. It was more just understanding that this is actually a distraction for me. I think a lot of the time the work that lays ahead of us appears very daunting. So it kind of keeps us trapped in that cycle of self-medicating. And if I'm being real with you, it is work to change your life and change your mind. The point is that you're worth it. You deserve to live a life that feels good to you. We are meant to enjoy this life. My dad used to always tell me, I don't expect you to be perfect. I just expect you to try your best. And that's one of the realest things he could have ever said, because we know personally, just like we're the only ones who know how our life genuinely feels regardless of how it looks, we're also the only ones who know if we're really trying our best. In my experience, people drink or become intoxicated regularly because it creates this illusion of control over a life that they're otherwise just very unhappy with. It serves as a temporary escape. It's a feeling of comfort where they don't have to face the things that they would otherwise have to face. Life is not surface level. Alcohol makes it easy to escape into a shallow reality, but what's beneath the surface will always remain. No matter how hard you try, you can't drown the demons in your head. The only way out is in. As much as living in the distractions appears seductive, all of that discomfort is going to be there waiting for you when you sober up. This is why I feel a lot of recreational users might find themselves quickly slipping into addiction, because it provides that illusion of temporary relief, temporary escape. And at the very least, alcohol is just a distraction between you and the person that you would be proudest to become. Some people are even addicted to relationships and losing themselves in someone else. Anything to avoid the work that needs to be done within themselves. Something I have noticed is that people with addictive tendencies have so much depth and so much potential. I think people who seek soothing are amongst some of the smartest people that there are. The problem is that the world is a lot. It's too much for people like this to handle. I think a lot of people were not made to know and embrace how special that they really are. Just the fact that you're here living your life, able to watch this video, is a miracle in itself. Giving up alcohol completely changed my life. I could have stayed stuck in that cycle, but I chose to fight for myself. I chose to fight for a better quality of life for myself, for my future family. I wanted to become somebody who made me proud. Not society, not my parents, not my friends, nobody else, me. And on that note, I really want to stress that you cannot give up substance for somebody else. This needs to be done for yourself. It's a decision that needs to be made by you, for you, if you want to create lasting abstinence. It was difficult, but I started to understand how alcoholic tendencies, substance abuse, is nothing but a pacifier for what's really going on beneath the surface. The experiences that we go through from the day that we're born shape us into who we become. And honestly have a lot of compassion for people who soothe with substance. I know how hopeless breaking that cycle can feel, but there's an underlying reason behind everything that we do, and I encourage everybody who watches this video to ask themselves, what is the reason I keep doing this? Why do I keep spending my time like this? Why do I keep doing this when I know I should stop? Why do I make some progress and fall right back into the same cycle? What is the reason that I continue to do things that I know I need to change? What is the reason that I continue to do things that harm me? What is the reason that I continue to do things that take me further away from myself, further away from the life that I want? You really need to be honest with yourself, you guys. And another thing is that you really need to let people help you. I really do think that it takes a village, especially with sobriety. I do not think it's something that you can do on your own. Even if that's just listening to other people and listening to their perspectives, I really had to be open-minded and let people help me. For the first time in my life, I let people help me, and it was so hard for me to do that. But there was so many people who showed up for me when I couldn't show up for myself. I don't know if I can ever fully express how thankful and grateful I am for the people who were there for me during this time in my life, or for the people who saw me. I don't know how I can ever express the gratitude I have now for the people who saw my potential, saw my worth when I didn't. This is something I'm also wanting to do with this video. Absolutely every person is born with innate value, and the trouble is that we're not always given the tools needed to understand this, and this isn't necessarily our fault. There are a lot of resources, a lot of support groups for people who are wanting to abstain from alcohol or get sober. If you're at all feeling like you have nobody around and you want people around, but if you're really feeling like you don't have anybody around you to turn to at times, I really encourage you to turn to God. And that word can just mean whatever it means for you. But really, turn to prayer. Prayer has scientific research to back up why it works. When I started to pray every day, when I started to talk to God, my life changed instantaneously. I will always say that I have everything I have right now in my life because of God. I owe it all to God. I will never say that I got this by myself. One of the best advice I ever got was, if you're not sure about sobriety, just continue doing what you're doing, because eventually you're going to realize that it's not working out for you, and sobriety will be there for you when you're ready. This is why I say that you need to be very honest with yourself, because sobriety can be very scary. Choosing to face yourself head on is absolutely terrifying. Digging into what's beneath the surface may look like facing things that you have suppressed for years. It's not for the weak. And let's talk about the fear of missing out as well. Yeah, the FOMO. Yeah. I quit drinking when I was young. All of my friends were just starting to go out to the clubs. I'm not gonna lie, that was really hard for me. But here's the thing that I realized even back then is that I'm not missing out on anything when I'm getting my life together. I'm not missing out on anything by prioritizing myself. You will not look back on your life and think, oh, I wish I spent more time at the club blacked out. I wish I wasted more of my time spending time with people who don't even have the same mindset as me or want the same things that I want out of life. Instead, you will wish that you focused on yourself sooner. You will wish that your time went into investing into your growth. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's lonely. I have been there. But with time, sitting with that discomfort, it will eventually begin to dissipate. You will fall in love with solitude. You will fall in love with environments that are actually fulfilling for you. Maybe you will fall in love with old hobbies, new hobbies. Alcoholism is a symptom of suppression. Let's stop shoving it all down. Let's let things come to the surface so that we can release them. That's quite literally the only way to move through things, is to feel them and release them. If we ignore and keep pushing down and keep suppressing, these things are later going to come up in our life in much less pleasant circumstances, like diseases. I know it can hurt to touch what lays beneath the surface, but the more you start to touch it, the more you're able to integrate these experiences, and it will in turn give you relief. It won't be heavy anymore, weighing on you, begging for you to acknowledge it. I think a huge block or reason behind why it can be so difficult to integrate some of these experiences is that it comes with admitting that maybe we went through things that we didn't particularly deserve, or that you deserved better than. Just because you don't have an extremely difficult childhood story, or you didn't experience extremely toxic family systems, doesn't mean that life was always fair to you. And I hope everyone can become comfortable with knowing when they did deserve better, even when people did their best. I think a lot of people that soothe with substance were very sensitive beings, and this is not a weakness or something that's negative. It means you're a good person who cares, and this is something that people in your life should value. Maybe you're not yet at the place where you feel like you can experience a life that's joyful and blissful, but at the very least you can imagine yourself in a life that you actually feel okay, that you're not always in pain. As I mentioned earlier in this video, a lot of people are born not knowing their worth. It's never too late to begin to understand just how valuable you are. You can start right now. You are absolutely deserving of everything that you can imagine for yourself in life and more. It's never too late to give up the past for a better tomorrow. Every day you wake up is an amazing opportunity to create a life that you are truthfully fulfilled by. I practice gratitude daily, and it really serves as a good reminder that there are people all over the world who would do anything to have the opportunities that you have. Whenever I lose touch of this, I try to remember that there is people fighting for their lives in the hospital right now that would give anything to be where you are today in your life. I really think social media cooked our generation and is a big reason behind why it's so difficult to break these cycles, leave these environments alone. You will not receive the connection or the community that you're looking for. You really need to get to know yourself. You need to analyze the people in your life. Once again, a lot of you will find that the only thing you have in common with these people is bad habits. So why are they there? So they can just drain your energy by you being around them? I'll get more into that in another video, but know thyself, master thyself, connect with God, connect with nature. Find connection in environments that help you thrive, that fulfill you, not in those that drain you. You may need to embrace solitude for a while to create the space to allow people who are more in alignment with where you want to be in life to come into your life. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's lonely. You may need to change your entire friend group. You may need to rebuild your entire support system. You may need to distance yourself from everything and everyone that you have ever known. You will need to change the environments that you're used to being in. But I promise you, it's worth it. You will find peace in the solitude that comes from removing yourself and detoxing yourself from these types of environments. Let's get one thing straight. Nothing changes if you don't change. I think another big misconception, or where people become weak to fall back into old habits and cycles, is that y'all really think you can just remove the alcohol and continue on in regular scheduled programming as usual. Can we just be serious for a second? You cannot heal in the same environments that got you sick. If you don't change, nothing changes. Yes, choosing abstinence is a huge change within itself, but you must supplement the old regular scheduled programming with a new scheduled programming. You aren't going to get to a better life by using the same blueprint. This might sometimes be referred to as being a dry drunk. Yeah, sure, you quit drinking, but you're miserable all the time and people can't stand to be around you because you're 1 second away from getting drunk again because you can hardly stand to be awake or be alive because you never bothered to do any of the work that comes with abstinence. You thought like, oh, as long as I don't drink, that's all I need to do. No. Stop taking the easy way out when it comes to yourself. Stop trying to shortcut when it comes to yourself. Are you not the most important person in your life? You can't be great for anybody if you can't even be good to yourself. Go back into the world. Read new books. Try new hobbies. Take a class you've always wanted to take. You're not going to love everything you try, but it's important that you seek new, healthier environments and habits for yourself. You might be thinking, well, there's nothing I want to try. I don't know what makes me happy. I don't know what I like. This is perfect. You're a clean slate. Time to start discovering. Time to start trying. Start creating a life worth living. I promise you it's not going to work every day just to come home and get wasted or just waiting for the weekend to come. That's not a life worth living. I know it, you know it, we all know it. I think it's important that you surround yourself with people who are doing better than you in life, or people who inspire you or challenge you. Get around people that you can learn from, or people that you actually aspire to be like. Staying sober is hard, but you can do hard things. Always keep your eyes on the prize, and the prize is you. Remember the purpose behind why you're making these positive decisions and choices for yourself. It's so that you can go places these people will never go. They're still doing the same thing 10 years later. Trust me, I believe in you. If you don't believe in you, I believe in you. If I can do it, why not you? Believe that you can have the life that you dream of, even if it seems out of reach. It's not about where you started, baby. It's about where you finish, and I'm living proof of that. It can feel difficult to tell yourself these positive things or even consider such vast concepts for yourself, especially when you're really used to negative, narrow-minded, closed-minded thinking. Just know I used to be the biggest skeptic, and I'm on here today because I want to share these things with you because it changed my life. My own results became so undeniable, I had no choice but to accept it. And now I want to share it. Honestly, just believe a good life can happen for you. Believe that you can create a good life for yourself. You can create a great and fulfilling life, whatever that means to you. I hope this video helped you guys. I hope it made you realize that a better life is always possible for you. I hope you realize that it's okay to need help. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences down below. I would love to hear what about this video stuck out to you the most. And yeah, that's it. Bye for now.